Hi everyone, I think most of you have missed what Idex is able to do, and in this video we're gonna look at Idex hidden potential. Let's dive straight into it. And let me tell you that in my videos I really start from the meat. I'm not just gonna fuff about, waste your time. This is a very important bit of news for Idex and the hidden potential that I see in the stock. So US Democrats passed $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Now this bill is not obviously specific to Idex, but it obviously is very important for Idex as being a company that is very much EV intensive with lots of businesses that work in the EV sector. And in fact, there are two things that Idex can shine on. Let me show you how. So the first one, and that is very important. So road, transit, internet, what is in President Biden's infrastructure bill? And this is very important. So we look at what is important for Idex as investor myself, by the way, spoiler alert, yes, I bought into it. Electric vehicles. The bill would spend $7.5 billion for electric vehicle charging stations. And charging stations is not, and I want you to be 100% aware that charging stations is not only for cars. There are buses, there are many other forms of transportation, and guess what is Idex very good at? And if you said Wave, which is basically a way to charge buses, and it's wireless and it's already happening in the US, I'm gonna give you a badge of honor. By the way, smash the thumbs up if you like this video. But like I said, Wave is probably one of the companies that's got the strongest ties with the government already. They're already building lots of things for the government, and this money is basically going right up to Idex for this kind of businesses, for this kind of jobs. And I don't know you guys, but this is very exciting as an Idex investor myself. But this is not the only thing that can happen for Idex. There is even more, and I'm gonna show you right now. Drum please. Well, actually it's in the same page as the electric vehicles. So it will also provide $5 billion for purchase of electric school buses and hybrid. This is the deal. Electric school buses. And guess who's planning to produce electric school buses? If you said Idex again, well done to you, because that is what is going to happen. And if you said Medici Motors, which is what Idex is basically the brand for buses and things like that, that is true. However, we know that Medici is very much not producing much at the moment. Like, these are just designs at the time of recording, so that is a long-term play. By the way, if you want to stay up to date on news on Idex, this is the channel, because I make this kind of videos on a regular basis. So, but the point being, this is another opportunity for Idex to shine. We're talking about $5 billion, and they're not gonna be spent in the next few days. It's something that will happen over the next few years, guys. So there is still time for Idex to jump on the boat. And when I mean jump on the boat, it doesn't necessarily mean that Idex will get everything. I know that Wave is doing very well and potentially will get a big chunk of this money coming to the private sector, but there is a fair process that the government needs to undertake to make sure that this money is just not given away to certain people, to basically bribery, these kind of things. It doesn't have to happen. They have to make sure it's all fair and given to the company with the best offer. Let me show you how it's going to happen. And this is a bit geeky, but very important if you're an Idex investor. So how does the government go about spending all that money? It's an awful lot of money. Officials are required to follow certain procedures, regulations, and guidelines for advertising and gathering bids. And I'm gonna cut it there from the point of view of procurement, but you understand that this process is very long. It might take actually a few months. So we won't know who has won all this money, and especially there won't be just one company getting everything. They will pick some companies. In some other states, they will pick other companies. I know that even Tesla will participate. Everyone will participate, to be honest, but they definitely will participate. And obviously Siemens and everyone else that I've talked about in the video that I'm gonna put a card at the end of this video. So stick around if you are interested in that. But then let's move on. The risk for the market, because we've seen this market being incredibly strong in the last few weeks, but how long is it gonna go on for? Well, let's have a look at it, because obviously Idex is part of the market, right? And this is where this article comes in very handy. So I am so poor, guys, that I don't even have a subscription to Market Watch. But just to tell you the title, how long will the stock market rally? At least until New Year. Now, to break it down, and this is exactly the same article. I'm not sure how I managed to get the article myself. So let's have a look at it. Everything went right, and that is why it's going so well. Everything went right over the past week. The market is in a state of euphoria, and that is after obviously the sell-off that normally happens at the end of September. But basically the Federal Reserve, which is something that I talked about last week, announced their plans to wind up their bond buying program. So that on itself wasn't good news. The market seems to be very much looking at the short term at the moment. And so for the short term, nothing has actually happened from a bond buying point of view. So then at the other side, we also had the interest rate that doesn't seem to be changed up until next year, and we're gonna get to that later. Then the Bank of England, which is the bank that actually makes decision for the UK, which is what I'm recording and which is where I live, also says that they won't change the interest rate, and that's what it happened in the last week. But at the same time, it might change in the next month, and I will be making more videos about interest rates because it will affect the whole market, guys. But also very good things have happened, like for example the October's job report was very good, and so overall we had an amazing few weeks, and it seems that the market is just going up. And so what do we have to fear for the future? These are the risks for Idex, and let's have a look at it because it's very important. First of all, the S&P 500 is putting in a small correction, which is obviously a bit bearish, and like I said, it's following a very strong October, but then now we see that we are in another phase of potentially, and yes, I'm looking at it, potentially bearish. And so we might see some kind of retracement down, but then that is gonna be obviously short term. On top of that, there is something that I mentioned earlier, and I'm gonna have a look at right now. And the Fed has come out and said the US rate hike could come by the end of 2022. Now, the rate hike will be a moment where money will move from equities, so from stocks, to bonds, because most of companies, most of hedge funds, they are very happy to buy bonds because they give you a fixed interest rate, and that is money that is in their pocket. Basically, they can go to their customers and say, well, this is a new product that I want you to buy if you feel like it's suited for you, but it gives you a fixed amount of money. So it can be 2%, 3%, 4%, depending on the interest rate, but it's a secured profit, and also savings account work like that. So you understand that this is something that the market really likes, and money will be taken away from equities. That's the only place and where most of the money is right now. So if you're investing in Idex, be extra careful, because at the time of recording is probably a very risky time for this company, because it's not profitable, because it won't be profitable for the next few years. Probably like 3 to 4 years is not likely to become profitable. It really has a hard path to profitability given the strange time we live in, with interest rates about to go up, and that is obviously very challenging for companies that are not profitable yet. But don't worry, I will be making more videos on Idex. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.